Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in learning just a little bit more of Chinese expressions a day. Yesterday, we talked about 人才济济, which is the phenomenon of a high density of talent. And we have this water maxing out before it overflows. So before the oversupply of talents, this is the best, the prime kind of max out the talent density. So, today we continue with 济 and 无济于事, which is very, very different from the first 济. So yesterday we talked a little bit about the two major meanings of 济, because it came from this flushing of water even out. So this is water sign, kind of a stream, so with mainstream and two side streams kind of broken, interrupted, but mainstream is continuous. So that's water sign, simplified by the three dots strokes in contemporary Chinese. And then qi on the right side talks about the wheat growing to the same height when they are going to be like fully grown and ready to be harvested. They are going to, looks like evenly high on the field. And I would probably believe that, because if they came from the same type of seed, same species of weed, and then given in the same region, grown in the same region, irrigated, like treated same, then the result should come not that far, right? Even if with certain individual conditioning, but the wheat was said to be the most equally standing high crop of all. So that's wheat harvesting, and this equal height, equal length, reaching out to the equal full potential, right? Like a flush on the top. That was used paired with the water sign to me, like I understand it in two ways. One is from high ground to low ground, water are going to redistribute. So it's like more even in the context of a high resource kind of a rescue to relieve, to help out the low resource. So that's the remedy, the meaning we use here, kind of to support, to supply more resource to it, to even out on the resource distribution. And the second meaning of that is the water. Imagine a cup, like a lake in a reservoir, right? So it's basically water within a container. And then here, the flushing means the water line kind of flush to the top, I guess, safe level water mark that allows. So basically it means it max out the reservoir or the cup to the brim before it gets overflow, before it gets damaging, right? Before it turns a benefit thing into a destructive thing. So that's the kind of maxing out, and that's the meaning in the yesterday's expression in 人才济济, is max out your capacity to hold the talent. So, supposedly, right, talent or trained people or people who were educated and specialized in something, there's a percentage in the population, right? So this is kind of like a max out that supply of talent. So in today's 无济于事, here is from the high ground to the low ground, kind of supply the resource, even it out so that the low resource, whoever is in need or in short supply of something, get further supported. So that's the kind of remedy we're talking about. So here, 无济于事 actually has a negation. That means there's no remedy you can make to make things better. Okay, 无 it's a negation. It's ancient Chinese use this dancing method image. So this is like a person, arm hold, spreading out, arm hold. This is 20 of crops together, and this is kind of arched, like a tippy toe arched leg, kind of looking like that. standing. So this is kind of a trained dancer, dance with crops in hand. And I would imagine that's kind of harvesting dance to celebrate that this year we have good harvest. That's critical to livelihood of people up there, right? And the dancers who can do this, toe standing up motion are kind of trained, probably the best dancer in that community. I'm not sure if that person get paid for that or not. I'm not sure about the labor division of dancers as a profession back then in ancient times, right? Okay, so this is a tree symbol, and then in this context, it's some sort of plant and a holding in a hand. And this is 20 because we have this cross. A Chinese cross means number 10, means it came from this roping. So this is rope, and then we have a pointer, kind of intersect with the rope to make it more obvious. Like that's a knot on the rope, and that's the number 10. So ancient times, roping was used as a major record keeping, right? So how many knots, kind of count how much you own or something, right? It's the ancient bookkeeping technology. And we have 2 of this crossing. You see, this is 1, that's 10, another 10 together. So 2, I guess it's on a rope, like 2 knots there, and that's 20. And connected at the bottom to make them 1 unit instead of like 1 horizontal line and then 2 like this, right? That's a little bit odd. So it's connected at the bottom of this 10. So that's 20. So 20 crops on each hand and standing on the feet. So that's, imagine the ancient harvest dance. And from that, somehow there was a logic jump to mean from the dance, which sounds like wu, now to the negation now sounds like wu. And my reasoning, I tried to come up with why this dance character, which is super complicated, and in the simplified Chinese wu is very simplified, it probably only maintains the main structure here and have a kind of like that. This how the dance was used to express this pretty abstract logic concept, which means negation. I view it as, because dance is a live performance, it cannot be preserved. Like language, we can preserve it on like cave painting or turquoise carving. Like it can go down through time. So we have a sort of record keeping way. But dancing is a live performance, as well as music. It's a live performance. You cannot record back then, at least, right? So that's something, once the harvest dance was performed, it's gone. Like it's nothing. You don't see anything afterwards. So that's that, transitory. Is it called a transitory? Something as ephemeral, like it doesn't go through time. It happened in a short period of time and then it's gone. So that eventually it's gone. Like gone, not there is the norm. And when it does occur, it's extremely rare. So that could be the logic jump over there, using dancing, which is a non-preservable form of activity, to imply things are not going to exist, not going to last. There's nothing. Okay, so no remedy. And the yu came from the speaking of, this is a blocked airflow. So we have this pipeline of air supplied from your lungs to your mouth, and that's how you pronounce, right? And then our mouth, our teeth, our tongue are going to form as a cavity of pronunciation. And ancient Chinese have a lot of characters, including like this one on my icon. It's something about the airflow through your pipe and to make a pronunciation, to make a speech. And this means the block of that air. And this is through the blocking of the air, still the sound bites goes out of your mouth. So no matter how blocked the sound is, you're going to hear it eventually. So that blocking of the sound eventually become more abstract, almost like you're directing your speech toward something, and that becomes 4. A little bit jump over there, but that's the best I have now. Matter is a little bit more concrete. We have this 3-finger hand symbol, you can see here, right? Kind of looking like that, of this thing. And then we have a staff, and then we have this circle, which is the head, super abstracted form, and this up-tilted curve, is a super simplification of the headgear. So the government officials back then wear different headgear, just like today in military, right? You have different hats, probably a little bit different, like the stars, how many stars, blah, blah, blah. So just like that, ancient times, how to distinguish one person as a government official of a certain rank to another person. That's the way. They have really fancy headgears. And the closest ancient kingdom we had was Qing Dynasty, and they have different apparel. So on the apparel, they're embroidered animals, and depends on what embroidered animal picture on the front of their clothing, you can tell the rank. But then I can imagine back even forward, not only apparel, but headgear, because headgear is on top of your head, right? On top of your attention, like close to your attention. When we are talking to a person, mostly we're looking at the head, not, well, maybe a little bit about garment as well, but the headgear is more obvious probably. So ancient times, government official ranking would have different types of headgear. And so this eventually got abstracted to mean, okay, this is a government official because it has a special hat. So that government official here in this image and doing something, and you can interpret it as the government processing, almost like a bureaucracy, right? Processing something. In contemporary life, we can imagine like you need some license or you need to do some public service type of thing. It has to go through the government agency, and that kind of government processing taking on a bigger endeavor than your household or community level of affairs. This government taking care of certain matters becomes the generic matter taking thing. So it has this official government funded activity and this doing, this hand. And you can also view this as a staff, like handwritten. So it's kind of a communication. So government issued announcement or documents or decisions. That's the kind of matter we're talking about. It's almost like official matter, or matter that's not your private, it's a public service type of matter. And this, with a hand symbol, that means doing, right? Means taking action. But eventually this becomes a matter, becomes a noun, becomes the thing they are taking care of, not the taking care of itself. Okay, so no remedy is good for the matter or whatever endeavor is kind of nowadays losing its connotation of it's a government endeavor. Your private business can become an endeavor as well. So this negation means there's nothing you can do about it, basically. And if I choose one English word, that's futile. So this image simply to mean there is this natural process of plants getting dried up and approaching the end of the life, and eventually parts are falling apart. And there's nothing you can really do about it because it's a natural course of how things go. And there are many, many things like that. So all of these type of, you cannot help it because it's naturally what's going to happen. that kind of thing in life are described by 无济于事. So I guess our job is to distinguish which battle you pick, right? Which things you can make a difference to, and what other type of things you just don't even try because it's going to be 无济于事. Okay, cash into the concept of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.